Rockets lost 95-85 to the Golden State Warriors in the first game of their first-round playoff series. The Astros took 2 of 3 over the weekend against the San Diego Padres, if you want to weigh in on both of those things. The big problem for the Rockets yesterday, other than Steph Curry being Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler having a playoff Jimmy performance, was that Fred VanVleet and Jalen Green combined to go 7 for 34 last night, including 2 for 17 from outside. We're going to be focusing specifically on Jalen Green a lot in this series because it's going to determine his future here in Houston. They gave him that extension, but it's a contract that's very tradable. And I think that this offseason, especially considering the Rockets were the 2 seed, if Green plays the way that he did last night for the entirety of the series, they will certainly be considering their options. After last night's game, Jalen Green, whose numbers were not bad when it comes to not shooting, he did have 8 rebounds. He had a couple of assists. But he was 3 for 15, 0 for 4 from outside, and he missed a free throw, which was a problem for the Rockets last night. 55% from the free throw line. Guys, what the hell? Especially when you lose by 10. Come on. Here is Jalen Green after the game talking about his issues.
Yeah, I gotta be better. It's my first game. I'm not too worried about it. We got a chance to shake back and improve from the game. So I got a taste of what it was, and now I just gotta answer back.
What was it about the way they defended you and the adjustment that you got to make against them?
I gotta take my time, make the right reads, get the spacing that I want.
Gotta take my time. I feel like for the Rockets, taking your time isn't necessarily going to make things better offensively, considering this team is at its best when they are running, and they only had 4 fast break points last night. I also think that very often, and this is the byproduct of not having a closer, if you will, there are moments where they seem passive. There are moments where it's not like the moment's too big for them, but it's close. They're a little hesitant. And, okay, it's the first playoff game they're all playing, but whether it was Şengün or some of the other guys out there were players who had open looks last night, and they were a little bit slow on the trigger. And that's got to be more quick. So Green saying, I got to take my time, I don't know. Maybe take my time in terms of don't dribble yourself into traffic and get caught like you always do. Like we're used to it by now. You're going to get it at least 2 to 3 times a game where Green violently blasts through the lane and is stopped by a collapsing defense, maybe even gets called for a charge like he did last night. Like, we're used to that. I don't want that. And if Green's talking about slowing down and taking his time when it comes to that, great. But there's going to be other moments where he's open and he's got to shoot and he's got to be confident shooting. And, I know a lot of people are going to look at Green last night, and especially if you look at the box score afterwards, which is horrible. He did stink last night. No 3 points made, 3 for 15 from the field. But I would tell him after this game, having watched it, I felt like he had bad luck and that the confidence got to him as the game went on. I felt like a lot of those shots were good shots, and they were just clanking. They were hitting the back of the iron. They were not as accurate as they need to be, obviously, but I didn't feel like he was taking bad shots. I feel like the execution or whatever the hell it was just wasn't very good out there.
Yeah, for the most part, I'm good with the decision making. Like you said, you're always going to get a couple of the kind of more reckless drives out of Jalen Green, and some of that you don't want to coach out of his game because that is, he's an explosive athlete. Sometimes that's just going to work out for him. He had one like crazy layup that he made, like a reverse crazy layup, a lot of spin off the glass. That was good. But yeah, I agree with you. For the most part, I kind of want him to play faster.
Right.
Especially in those situations where they're trying to get Steph Curry matched on them, like just blow by him. Don't try to like dance with the ball. Like just take 2 hard dribbles and
Yeah.
try to blow past a 36-year-old point guard.
He's 37.
37-year-old point guard.
Honestly, it blew my mind that he's older than me. But he's 37
It
years
is crazy
old.
that he's older than
Yeah,
me.
he's a year older than me. I thought he was my age. Honestly, I looked up his age just now. He's 37. Take him every single time.
Yeah, and like again, just decisive, fast. Even if you are dribbling into a collapsing defense, like that's where you then either dump it off to the big man, either Adams or Şengün, or look for a shooter on the outside. And hopefully it's not Fred VanVleet, based off last night.
I thought he handled that situation right there, being asked about his struggles, pretty well. I mean, it's my first game, just getting a taste, and I hope he's right. I hope he is. But on that same note, Alperen Şengün, I mean, that was easy for him.
I mean, second play of the game, dunked all over Draymond Green.
That posterization, Sean, is what I keep thinking about as far as why I think the Rockets still have a very good chance if they do what they do best. And what they do best is against a team like Golden State, matchup-wise, it is bullying them.
Yeah.
They are just bigger, and I get you're going to have limitations for Steven Adams, but we've seen the numbers for that lineup that they put out there with Şengün, with Adams, and with Jabari Smith. It is literally the best in the NBA in terms of all the metrics in the limited minutes that they've played together. And against Golden State, this is the one matchup where you're like, make this happen a little bit more. It's really good out there.
Especially with the team that is so small in the Warriors, with Draymond Green at center. You only got 10 or so minutes from Looney, who's like the only other big body. And the rest of it was Quint Post and a bunch of wings masquerading as big guys, where even a guy like Jabari Smith, who's not like the strongest dude, his game isn't predicated on like beating guys up down low. Just the size that he presents, either rotating to help. He had a block on Gary Payton II, where he just comes flying in from the other elbow, and from the right elbow blocks him on the left block, where it's just the size. Same thing with Tari Eason that they can throw out there. Like even with their small lineups, they're going to be as big as the Warriors, if not bigger.
Exactly.
And so that's something that they need to lean into, that and the athleticism, like you said, getting this into a full court game, running up and down.
Jimmy Butler is 35. Draymond Green is 35. You can run these guys to death because the rest of their team are guys like Brandon, Podziemski, Moses, Moody. Who the hell is Gui Santos? Gary Payton II, not his dad.
Not the mitten, not the glove.
Buddy Hield. I mean, remember when that guy was supposed to be like the next
He was
best
awesome.
shooter?
Awesome in college.
This is not a good team depth-wise. That's not to say that they're not good, because the guys that I mentioned, the old men, I mean, they're OGs.
Yeah, I mean,
but
yeah.
This
he lost because of those guys.
This adds up. And to bring it back to Jalen Green, Green's athleticism in this series is a huge strength. The Warriors were throwing a lot at him in this game. I'm not panicking about it, but I did think it's worth noting. This is from Chris Mannix from Sports Illustrated leading into the series. He did an interview with, I believe it was on the Hoop Collective with Brian Windhorst, which is a podcast. Oh, no, it's the Open Floor NBA show. Sorry, got to give my credit where the credit's due. Here's what Chris Mannix had to say about Jalen Green and his half-court offense.
Like, Jalen Green has to be able to score in half-court offense. And I'll go as far as say, if Jalen Green can't do that in this series and they wind up losing, Jalen Green won't be here next year. Jalen Green will be gone. He'll be part of a trade package to go get a Kevin Durant or Devin Booker or somebody of that ilk to bring back to Houston. Jalen Green has to perform. This is Jalen Green's moment in this particular series.
It's funny because we were just talking about how good the Rockets can be in transition and how they had 4 fast break points last night. But Mannix is right. It's going to have to come in a slower situation, and Green is going to have to find a way to not just create shots, which he can. He has the athleticism to separate. he's also going to have to hit him. I thought he got looks. I'm not panicking about Jalen Green's game one performance. For the person who's texting in, never let Fred VanVleet shoot again. Yeah, I'm with you on that after last night. But that's who Fred VanVleet is. You just have to accept it, you know? VanVleet is going to have a night probably where he shoots very well. This is the same guy who helped beat the Warriors in the playoffs before, in the finals with the Raptors way back in the day. Different player, but hey, he's done it. If anyone's confident enough to do it in this series, it's going to be VanVleet. It was really funny how he hit a three later on, and we were all of us sitting on the press row. We were like, please stop. And then he hit it. And we were like, well, okay, I guess.
I thought it was hilarious because it blew the roof off the play. Now, I did think that was that the one that cut it to 4?
Yes.
So it cut it to 4. So obviously the crowd, like, again, goes bananas. But I was like, this is the benefit of going like 2 for 13 to start the game, is that when you make one, people are just, ah!
I'm surprised that people weren't booing when he got the ball after a certain point. Here's after the game, VanVleet talking about the Rockets' struggles offensively and specifically his own.
Oh, we just didn't execute. I mean, maybe the physicality was an issue, but I thought we matched that for the most part. Execution was a little sticky here and there. You give credit to the defense. We can do a lot better in that area.
Man, what do you think about that half-court offense, and do you think crashing the boards and the way you all did is sustainable for a full series?
Yeah, that's what we do. I mean, we're going to continue to do that. I think we could generate better looks. I think our spacing can get better. And we can make more shots, obviously, myself included. Didn't shoot the ball great tonight. We missed 9 free throws. So all of those things being said, 10-point game, we guard them pretty well. Steph hit some crazy shots, obviously. Liked our fighting intensity, but it's about execution.
That last part, I agree with VanVleet entirely. But hey, man, let's make some of those shots, okay? That's all we're asking for. You can't go 4 for 19, 2 for 13 from outside. 2 for 13.
I was giving him credit. I said he was 2 for 11 before that shot. No, he was 1 for.
Here's one.
I think he shot another one when the game was already out of reach. But God, I mean, yeah, you just need not an absolute disaster out of one of those guys.
One text before we move on from the 713. Golden State still dirty. Did you see Steph Curry pull Draymond Green's jersey and then go free to the hole? No whistle. There was a moment. Jalen Green's jersey. There was a moment where after Dillon Brooks had undercut Steph Curry in Steph Curry's mind, where Steph set like a screen on Dillon Brooks coming back, which I thought was a little dirty. Definitely something I would have thought about doing in a pickup game with somebody who had maybe annoyed me on the other end of the court. I think that was what was going through his head. Basketball players are human after all. But yeah, they shove. But the best part about this series is they're letting him play. What happened last night, if that's what they're going to do the rest of the way, if it's the same referees the rest of the way, Scott Foster can't hurt you. He's in New York City because apparently he's too injured to actually go on the court. If the series continues like that, that does favor the Rockets, who they out-physicaled Golden State. I mean, 50 to 30 was the rebound discrepancy last night. 50 to 36, 52 to 36, 22 on the glass offensively, and 22 points offensively. So they lost. Obviously, it's disappointing, but there's a lot of good in this one. And I feel A-okay going forward. I don't feel great. You don't want to lose a game at home, but I think we very often overreact to what happens in game one of playoff series. And I do think this thing's going 7.